I don't know about you guys, but I always find the best way to celebrate the Christmas season is by watching a demonic, blood-sucking vampire kill innocent people. Don't judge me, that's not that unusual. That's the reason why Robert Eggers and company decided to give us this glorious gift for Christmas. But the real question is this movie worth a trip to the cinema? Let's discuss. Dracula, Nosferatu, what's the difference? Well, honestly, not very much. You see, back in the day, some people wanted to adapt Bram Stoker's novel into a movie, but they didn't quite have the rights, and that is where Nosferatu came in. Some of the names are different, but the events are mostly the exact same from that original novel. This film stars Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Bill Skarsgård, Willem Dafoe, Emma Corrin, and Simon McBurney. And I feel pretty confident that I got everyone's name right this time. In this story, much like the novel, a man is sent to the house of a mysterious count in order to facilitate a real estate transaction. Seems innocent enough, right? Except for the fact that the count is a blood-sucking ancient vampire. And he's ugly as shit. Let's not forget that part. The marketing team did an excellent job hiding how Nosferatu would actually look in the film, which is commendable because after the amount of effort that they likely put into coming up with this design, I am sure that they really wanted people to see it as soon as possible, yet they resisted. I won't spoil how he looks, but if you have seen the movie Coraline, the character that lives upstairs with the jumping rats, I think he's kind of a dead ringer for how Nosferatu looks in this movie. Don't look it up if you don't want to know. One of the things I think the original novel and the films tend to show with the story is the fact that the act of draining blood from a victim is almost a tad sexual. For sure, there's a huge lack of boundaries. There's a person getting way up close and personal because in order to suck blood, you have to put your mouth on somebody. And isn't that just like making love? It sounds very similar. And so I think that that is something that the films really lean into. And in the case of Nosferatu, well, this old vampire must be feeling pretty horny because he pursues Lily Rose Depp's character throughout this movie like a boy trying to get laid after prom. However, in this movie, the vampire is not some suave, attractive man who is capable of wooing. That's one of the things that is different between this novel and this unauthorized adaptation. In this movie, Pimp Daddy Dracula is gone, and in comes the ugly motherfucker. Nicholas Hoult in this film is basically playing the exact same character that Keanu Reeves played in the original film directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and he does an excellent job. He's a man who wants to provide for his wife. He feels like it is his manly duty to make sure that she is comfortable, and he's going to do whatever it takes, including taking on this extremely risky and sus assignment. I really enjoyed his portrayal, and you can really see and feel the fear that this man is going through because he walks into this house that is straight up creepy. It is just so sus. I said it again. It's a good word, especially for a movie dealing with a vampire, okay? Don't judge me. But either way, I thought the way he sold the fear, the look in his eyes during some of these scenes, the way he is trembling, it really felt extremely real and very, very tangible. Yeah, this old count is creepy as shit. He is ugly as shit, but Nicholas Hoult's got bills to pay and a wife to spoil, so into the lion's den he goes. You can't call this guy lazy. You just can't. Nicholas continues proving once again that he is a great actor and someone we can expect to see more of because he delivers every single performance I see from him, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing his portrayal of Lex Luthor in the Superman movie that's coming out next year. I am sure that he is going to nail it. Another standout performance in this film is Lily Rose Depp as the wife of Nicholas Hoult's character, Thomas. She's taking over for Winona Ryder and very much brings her own charm and range to this very challenging role. She has to spend the majority of this film appearing to be a woman who is tormented, who is feeling so conflicted and just having the life and energy drained out of her. For all intents and purposes, on the surface, this is a woman who appears to be mentally ill, and they really do address her as such in this film. And that was pretty common for back in the old days. People referred to her as suffering from melancholy, treating her trauma as a delusion. And as I said, back in the day, it was easy to treat women who were going through such things as just being hormonal, okay? She's on her period, don't worry, it's not real, just give her some rest, give her some money, and she'll calm right down. Much like her father Johnny, Lily Rose Depp seems to really enjoy this gothic genre, and I think she is doing her father proud. He probably is going to love this performance. This is a movie that he would have done for sure back in his prime, and maybe he could still do if we ever get over the cancel culture we did with him. Bill Skarsgård's Count Orlok lurks over this film like a thundercloud on a sunny day. He brings a menacing and terrifying presence to his portrayal, and of course, he nails it. But this shouldn't be much of a surprise. This is the guy who played Pennywise we are talking about. This man, also like Johnny Depp, loves to get immersed into characters, and he is not against being covered from head to toe and prosthetics in order to serve the role, and he can still deliver exceptional performances when he is doing all this prosthetic work. Bill Skarsgård really is a creepy and unsettling presence in this movie, and his performance, it really was so much different than I expected, because I was expecting something more along the lines of Gary Oldman, and you're not going to get that in this movie. You're going to get something completely different, and that's why Bill knocks it out of the park. Robert Eggers has crafted a clear love letter to this very famous story, and he does it with a style that feels so right for this material. There's a grittiness to the camera work. There's really mysterious dark shots. The sound direction is excellently done. Just everything about the production of this movie, it feels very, very art house, and it stays in line with Robert Eggers' style, and it also works really well for this story because Robert Eggers, his bread and butter is that dark, mysterious presence, and he doesn't necessarily care about having an extremely fast-paced movie, which is one thing I will say is a slight con for this movie, but also it works really well at the same time. Growing up, I was always so enticed by the idea of Dracula, by monsters in general. I really liked the Halloween season. I used to ask for my birthday to be a Halloween-themed birthday, and I remember one year I asked for a picture of Dracula and Frankenstein, and I got it, and I hung it up on my wall, and I could not sleep at all because after actually seeing his face, I was terrified. But yeah, I've always had an interest in this kind of genre. I've always loved the mysterious monsters. He's a monster whose effect can spread many, many miles as he slowly drains your energy like a parasite. What's not to love with that? Wait a minute, does that sound familiar? It almost to me sounds like children and vampires are very, very similar. I don't have kids, but I am an uncle, and I can say that I do get a sense of my energy being drained every time I'm around them. So please, parents, let me know. Do you think children are like vampires? So as I recently just mentioned, I do think that this movie has a slightly slower pace, and for that reason, it didn't pull me in completely. I was so impressed with so much about this movie, but the pacing, it did feel a little slow for me. The critic in me wants to give this movie a perfectly high rank, but the audience member in me is thinking that at times, it could have felt a little bit faster. So for me, this movie is a 7.5 out of 10. I know it feels blasphemous to say. I know that they did so much right with this movie, but I just think that it dragged just a little bit. It just dragged a little bit. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. Did you like this video? If you did, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, you should subscribe to this channel. And while you're at it, you should tell other people about this channel. You should share some of my videos. This channel is in the early growth phase, and it needs all the help that it can get. And I would very much appreciate it. So please like, subscribe, and share some of this content. Later.